This is Lake Bennanee in southwest New South Wales. We made an excellent camp here last night on our journey from South Australia to Sydney. This region is characterised by ancient lake beds that are, more often than not, dry, which is unsurprising given that mean monthly evaporation in this part of the world exceeds monthly rainfall throughout the year. Aboriginal people also enjoyed camping here for upwards of 30,000 years. They must have seen it just like this and heard these same sounds. Their burial grounds are often located around lakes like this, and some of them are thousands strong. This is the riverine plain of southeast Australia, and we're travelling across it via the Sturt Highway. The plain itself is an ancient lake bed, scored by the Murrumbidgee and Lachlan rivers. Charles Sturt, exploring in 1833, remarked on the great extent of the plains here and their treelessness. Settlers followed close behind the explorers with sheep and cattle, following the watercourses but moving away from them as seasons permitted. Significant changes to vegetation were observed as early as the 1840s. The practice of ring barking, killing trees so as to increase the growth of grass, was general. There are reports of extreme pasture depletion and soil erosion on the plain from very soon after settlement. Rabbits spread northward from Geelong, Victoria in 1862, crossing the Murray River at about 1879. By 1885, many parts of this region were infested with them. Almost 1 million rabbits were killed on just one pastoral holding in 1880, and some holdings had to be temporarily abandoned. The infestation further aggravated soil erosion and pasture depletion. The opening up of the plain for selection by small farmers became an issue in the 1860s. Where farming was introduced, most trees were removed, and indigenous grasses were replaced by crops, weeds and introduced pasture species. Since the 1930s, the major development in the broader region has been irrigation. Storage dams have been built on all the significant rivers, so that river flow can be managed to suit irrigation needs. Only major floods now pass along rivers, normal flood crests being retained by the dams. Okay, we've pulled up here for morning tea. We're heading home. We're in between Hay and Narrandera. We're just off for a morning tea break. There's a rest area nearby, but we just went elsewhere because the trees look so much nicer. We brought up our little billy, which you can start in a raging wind and doesn't leave any naked flame. It's absolutely brilliant. It takes 2 minutes to boil a billy. And look at these trees here. The amazing thing about this tree is the number of nesting hollows. Go up here. Another, what a beauty. Go up here. Yes. Just nesting hollows everywhere. In the ends there, fantastic. Come across here and up in there. Nesting hollows everywhere. And so it goes. I think this single tree must have something like 50 major nesting hollows. And we just don't see that anymore. If we walk on down into this is obviously some sort of billabong. So there's any number of big trees here. And you'd call that one in the background of this shot a pretty big tree. But it's a baby. When this fork tree was much younger, a tree fell in between its two limbs, into its fork. And someone then came along, probably 50, 100 years ago, to cut that off for a fence post. For some reason they didn't complete the job. You can see the chainsaw cut there. But look how this tree, the bigger tree, has grown all around the fallen tree. And for some reason or other, they must have decided it was too hard to get it out of the ground where it's embedded here. and they've left it. It would have made a splendid gate post. They've taken others, as you can see here.
By early 1841, settlers on both sides of the Murrumbidgee River, of which this billabong is a backwater, were determined to give the Wiradjuri a lesson for sparing cattle. They went out armed and drove the blacks before them, who took refuge on an island in the middle of the river a few kilometres upstream from here. At least 60 to 70 Wiradjuri men, women and children were killed, and the island became known as Murdering Island.
That's a huge bird. This is a phenomenal tree. It's simply huge, and it's shedding that old bark. So I think this tree would be well in excess of 300 years old. It would predate Europeans. It would have witnessed Aborigines in here harvesting the ephemeral resources of this billabong. It would have witnessed so many things. No limit to the fall of timber around here. There's just masses of it. Oh, wow, that's really big, isn't it? I mean, this tree has obviously fallen 100 or 200 years ago. I mean, it's in an advanced state of decay. God, it's old. This tree is almost 2 handspans girth. These phenomenal trees, which you hardly see anywhere now, they've gone. These are the things that harboured and generated the natural life of the country. And because we've devastated these trees, there's very little natural life left. It's remarkable there's any left. It's still alive, this one. So there's in New South Wales, there's something like 3% of the original vegetation left. All the rest is cactus. It's been cut down for farms. And as you drive along the highways with an avenue of trees to either side of you, you could be deluded and think, oh, everything's okay, there's plenty of forest, but there's not. That avenue is rarely more than 20 metres wide. Beyond that, it's just farmland with not a tree to be seen. If we don't start saving what we've got here, wherever it exists now, then we are going to lose Australia as we know it.